Hello everyone, welcome to technically it would be episode number 11 of Repeaters, Guild Wars 2 with Sasha and Johnny. Basically what you got this time though is the end of the series. We paid for the game. The game was alright, but we don't think that it was perfect, and it doesn't really feel for us. More along the lines of it feels okay to play, it's fun to play, but it's not something that we're going to be playing a lot of, and definitely not enough to record. So with that, I'm going to flip this over in. Alright, I went ahead and started the recording. So what are some of the big problems y'all have with the game?
You want to go first, Sash?
Is there a starting point?
Should be. Somewhere there's a starting point.
You know, my main problem with the game is the way ArenaNet runs it. I guess my problem lies more with their PR department. And the fact that they're trying to be Nazis towards their customers.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad about how they treat the customers and everything.
I mean, it's extremely unprofessional to announce one's account information on Reddit to the world.
Which of course at least they ended up going back and at least taking care of that and firing those people, but even still.
Only after it became a problem for them.
Yeah.
Their customer service pretty much blows.
Today is what, Saturday, and they opened up the forums 2 days ago?
Yeah. As of earlier, there was 57 pages in the bug report forums.
Which I think are the only forums that are actually open.
Right. As of now.
Which is still sad that the game's been out, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks today.
Hey, Char.
Well,
How's the fight?
whatever it was called, the early release.
Yeah.
I think the main point we should make is they ran Guild Wars 1 and had forums.
Yep.
But they didn't have them ready to go.
Because they didn't and their reasoning was they didn't want to have a strain on the engineers and whatnot. They were saying that there were too many problems within the game that they didn't want to put that much on their engineers. It's like, what problems within the game? Because there's almost none.
This game's been in development since 2007. If they were having that big of an issue, they need to rethink the way they're doing things.
Yeah. I also think that, you know, them putting up stuff where, yeah, you probably should have known it was an exploit, but they probably shouldn't have immediately permabanned everyone. Especially when it's a programming error. If it's an error that no one could have foreseen, there was no way you would have known that it would have happened, that's one thing. If it's something that a programmer did by accident, and then you blame everybody else for taking advantage of something, that's bullshit.
The game itself is fantastic as far as gameplay. Now, there's a lot of people, mostly white knights for the game, that claim that there's no grinding in it, which is a blatant lie.
Yeah, you can't sit here and be like, oh, there's no grinding. Yes, there is.
There's not a lot of backtracking as far as a quest giver going, hey, kill 10 of these and come back, and then do the same thing again and come back. But there is backtracking in the sense of you have to go to one place, and then come all the way back to do part of your story, and then go all the way back to that place.
Yeah.
Or the problem that me and Johnny ran into yesterday, where it was telling us to go all the way to Lion's Ark, and then to the city right outside of it, only to go back to Snowden, because it was closer to go there and ping-pong back than it was just to go backwards.
Jeez.
Which is ridiculous. They should have just told us where to go.
And then everybody's point for the ping-ponging not being a big deal is that you have the damn teleportations.
You know, the waypoints and the quick travel is convenient, but not having mounts when you have to go discover things like dungeons is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I love how they were banning people for exploiting the game, but then people have been complaining about how dungeons are, and they flat out told you, you need to exploit it. You need to play it like it's something you've never done before and kite it around, find an exploit for the boss, and it's like, but you're scared to, because if you exploit something in the wrong way, they're going to ban you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of brings me to another point about the whole exploit banning thing. Them making being a chef completely useless is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's completely useless at this point.
Completely useless unless you want some buffs for yourself. That's pretty much it.
So it's basically just a money sink for you to have random food buffs when you could just buy food from a vendor.
Yep.
That does the exact same thing.
Yeah. You can't even give that shit to your friends or sell it. So it's just like your property from here on out.
Which makes it completely useless.
Along with the waypoint thing, the thing that is interesting but annoying, the overflow servers. A good idea in theory, but when you've got 3 to 5 friends and you all want to be on the same server, you have to wait like half an hour of either trying join in, having it failing 50 times, or somehow managing to all get on the same server. And then, God forbid, one of you goes to like Holbrick or something and gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back with that, actually. It's gotten better, actually, since the last video we did, because me and Sasha were both going earlier where I was leveling my char, and every single time, like, I'd go into the city, come out, we were in the same instance. Like, it hasn't been a problem.
We're in a guild now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as we entered a guild.
Yeah.
The other thing that I will admit is not quite as bad with that is once you get into the higher level zones and there's not quite as many people as the starting zones, it's not so bad.
But the lack of people then makes champion quests and events completely undoable. Like, you will get your ass handed to you unless there's a group of people there.
And because you have to come back, it makes it even worse sometimes.
I mean, they claim that you can do the whole game by yourself, but you really can't. You can't do anything by yourself. Because the mobs hit too hard and have too much health, and you are squishy as fuck.
Yep.
And pets, don't even get me started. The hunter pets, broken. The whole pet mechanic needs to be redone because they're useless. They're just there for vanity, apparently.
They really are. I mean, they take 2 or 3 hits and they're dead.
Yeah.
Then they show up as a down player on the map and everyone's like, oh god, oh wait, it's just a stupid pet, leave it alone.
A stupid pet that wasn't doing anything to help to begin with.
At first I was always yelling at rangers because they never revive their pets. Now I see why they don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a waste.
I played a ranger until what level? Like 5 or 6?
You know what? I take that back. It was a waste until you're already out of combat, and then res it because you get the experience. That's the only use for it. Is free experience.
Good points about the game would be you don't have to worry about people camping you.
Yeah.
And the whole like gathering nodes thing is shared amongst everyone. You're not like waiting around for one specific thing and somebody comes up and takes it from you.
Yeah, that's something that I wish. That's one of those things that, like we were talking about, that Warcraft needs to steal eventually, because we know they will. That's probably one of those things.
Not just Warcraft, but every game that's an MMO, it needs to have something to where you're not going to be, I guess, turned into a complete douchebag when you're trying to do something like mining or gathering some kind of material you need for crafting. It needs to be shared amongst everyone so you don't encourage being an asshole.
Even better, the way it's set up here, everybody's like, oh, well, there's bots. Who cares? You can gather everything. Why would you ever need a bot?
Oh, speaking of bots, the constant mailing you get from gold farmers and shit in your mailbox.
Yeah, apparently you can report that now.
Apparently last night to add a report function for that. It took that long, and people are still getting hacked on a regular basis, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, something that I read or somebody told me or something, there was like 11,000 recently that it happened to.
Yeah, I was the one who told you 11,000 with the email verification in place, where you have to put that, you have to verify that it's you through the email.
Right.
And 11,000 people still got hacked.
You know, I actually have that turned on. I have yet to get anything for it.
I get mine all the time, because I've got some guy in China trying to hack me.
I have nothing for it.
I've changed that password 3 times. It's almost completely pointless.
You know, they tell you to go in and look at the IP log on their website if you sign into your account, but they don't tell you that it wipes itself every time you sign out.
Nice.
So when you go to check it, all it shows is the current login, which is what you were doing right then.
That's stupid. They think they have it so great, and you know, they have a advantage over everybody, but I can tell you now, Blizzard's gonna steal some of this stuff, and then it's gonna be like, yeah, what was the point?
That's the nature of MMOs, you know, everybody takes ideas from everyone else and makes it better. And unfortunately for Guild Wars, that's what Blizzard's good at.
Blizzard's really good at taking what you thought you did the best and making it, 1, better, and 2, work correctly.
Now, there's going to be people that are like, oh my god, they're just comparing this to Warcraft. That's not true. We're making a comparison between this and every other MMO that we've played, which is a lot amongst the 3 of us.
Champions, City of Heroes,
Age of Conan, Warhammer, all of those, you know, that have tried and failed.
Aeon. Rift and Aeon.
Oh, Rift and Aeon, my god.
I was trying to forget that we played Aeon.
I was psyched for that one too, and then I played the beta.
Even free-to-play MMOs, you know, I mean, Guild Wars on a free-to-play level has taken it to a whole new level of, like, comparison towards, like, this and something like Forsaken World that a lot of people are playing, or,
I forgot we played Forsaken World.
There was a Russian MMO that came to America.
Yeah, that helps. There's only about 600 of those.
It had those little teddy bear people. I can't remember the name of it.
For Iron Legion.
I don't remember.
Anyway, it was a free-to-play game. I mean, it was fantastic, but Guild Wars took it to a different level. But at the same time, there's no security option in this game.
Yes. Trouble?
They're like, yeah, email authentication. Obviously doesn't work.
Goodbye.
Because the problem with email authentication, I don't know why they didn't think about this, is 90% of most people who set up a password set up the exact same password with everything they have. So setting up an email authentication, they probably have your email and your email password. It's like, they're getting your shit, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Pain.
I think part of the other problem is no mounts. You have to use the waypoints because everything else takes too long to run around with.
Yeah, it's kind of adding to my point earlier when I was mentioning that, like, me and Johnny had to run all the way to the Char starting area for this dungeon. And we're Norns, so we had to come all the way from Holbrook, and we didn't have any of this crap, like, discovered.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Funny thing is, the Norns are the closest to this place. If we had been, like, Azura, what a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yes, we can go to Lion's Arch and then go to Black Citadel, but still, walking across Ascalon, well, not technically Ascalon, but the plains there, it's still a decent walk.
I think I have a good point that I get to bring up here in half a second. But we're gonna look.
I was about to say, half a second, what do you need to think?
Haha.
Not for long.
No, actually, I have a perfect point right here. Sasha, remember when you were helping me level my chart earlier?
She would, except she's AFK.
Oh. Well, we did every quest in the starting part, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 quests, and then there was like 5 or 6 different events, including me doing some of my story quest. I'm now to the next section and the next section of my story quest. You have to be level 6. I'm still level 5.
Well,
But I did everything correctly.
the thing about that, though, is there are so many different ways to level up. Crafting can level you several levels at a time.
But
The
see, that's
rate
kind of
that-
the point, though, is that if you're going to level in the game, you have to pick up crafting. You have to pick all the what is it? Picking up wood, picking up ore, picking up plants. You have to get all that, or you'll never level. You'll never be able to just go into a zone and do it, and then just be done with it. You have to do it, and I don't like the way that does it. Because everybody's like, oh, well, you don't have to backtrack. Yeah, but I gotta do a whole lot of other shit just to be at the correct level at the correct time.
And you know, yeah, like, right now I am 28, and I just got done with the 15 to 25 zone with Sasha, but I've done all of my story quests up to this point, and a lot of crafting.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there were so many events that we just, you know, ran into a second time while we were backtracking.
Or like
Yeah.
an 8th and 9th time.
Yeah.
You know, this is slightly off topic, but it makes me think about the tutorial thing, like when you bring up crafting. The only way to get hints and tips in your hints area is to discover that section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people that haven't played MMOs and don't know shit about crafting, there's really nothing to tell people, hey, you should go here and do this. People just kind of have to stumble upon it, which kind of leads to people not leveling correctly because you have to do crafting. You're almost forced to get away from questing just to get the levels that you need. Like, one of my story quests, when I was, I think, 24, it was way too hard for me. But it was all broken, you guys couldn't go in with me. I couldn't even go in with other people that were my level. Nothing was working. And if I hadn't gone and done like all the tailoring and stuff and gotten better gear, I would have been screwed. I had to just kind of bullshit my way through that quest to pass it.
You know, one of the ironies is that you think, oh, well, I can't do this quest now, so what I'll do is I'll level up and get a few levels past it, and then come back. But then it scales you back, so it really, I mean, you really just screw yourself. Because you're going to come back, and then you're still going to be the same level as when you were supposed to do the quest.
I mean, I don't really appreciate the comments that they have to where they say that, you know, you can do this whole thing by yourself. You can't. There's no way to do the whole game by yourself. There isn't. Because of the scaling.
The thing about it is, yes, you can do the whole game by yourself. Technically, as in, you won't be in a party with other people, but they'll still be running around helping you. If you were just doing this whole game by yourself, you would quit.
Yeah, it'd be a lot worse than it already is. I mean, look at it this way with Simon and Lewis. where Simon was like, "Yeah, I went and did this outdoor dragon boss, and it took him 3 hours." Can you imagine doing that with one person?
You know, it took them 3 hours because of the lack of people in that area, and that's going to be
Yeah,
a problem.
and
That's
it's
the
always
other
going to be
thing.
a problem.
Yeah. The other thing that's like really kind of strange is you fight an outdoor boss with a couple of people, and it's incredibly hard. You fight it with 40 people, it's pathetically easy. It doesn't scale correctly whatsoever.
Yeah, there's not a great scaling technique to it.
Honestly, a lot of the boss events remind me of Rift, and that's not a good thing.
Ooh.
A lot of this reminds me of Rift with the events. Just
I mean,
because Rift brought in the idea of having an event like that, but they didn't perfect it. Guild Wars tried to take it and perfect it, and yeah, they don't start up like Rift does, where Rift starts up every 3 minutes. It requires someone to start a quest, but it's still on a first day or a day where there's a whole bunch of people in that zone, you're catching that quest 7 or 8 different times.
you know, talking about like quests and different zones and things, a lot of the comments from people about Guild Wars are all the quests are new and different. Let me tell you something. I've escorted this motherfucking Dolyak about 15 times in different zones. Excuse me. This is the same fucking escort quest with a different guy with a different fucking Dolyak.
With a different little route. It's still the
It's not
same
new and
quest.
exciting. I'm escorting a cow with bags and a dipshit that dies every 5 seconds.
My only
That's all
point
I'm
of
doing.
view, the only thing I can really say that they did with questing, they did the damn escort quest fucking right. They walk at either A, your speed, or B, your speed when you're walking. You can actually follow them, you can keep up with them, you can do all that and actually, do it. Rather than, oh, this guy's walking at half my run speed, but about half faster than my walk speed too. So I can't keep up with them. I'm just run forward, stop. Run forward, stop.
Which, is great if you get sidetracked and say, hey, I want to go mining really quick.
Yeah.
Or, well, I lagged out for a second and fell behind, now I can't catch up to him. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, they're not going to get that much farther ahead of you because they'll usually run into shit to fight, and that's when you catch up.
And they'll die a lot. Because every NPC in the game is squishy. Squishier than you are. Like, Aristogalkin, which is totally a big beef that I have with this game. She's supposed to be this, like, big badass and kind of the face of the game. Or she became the face of the game anyway.
Face of the Norns, at least.
Yeah, one of them.
And she sucks. I mean, she dies when I don't even get touched. Like, she will die in the first few seconds of every class quest. And that shouldn't be happening. Her and her wolf Garm just dead the whole time.
That's another thing. Like, I understand that this game is supposed to be hard, and it is. It is a good difficulty for a game to be. Because it's hard, but it's not impossible. And it's not infuriatingly hard, it's challenging. But when you do some of your class quests, well, not class quests, story quests, I should say, some of them are just downright hard for certain classes.
They're hard for most classes.
Like, mind you, I'm a guardian, so pretty much as long as I don't stand in shit too long, I can survive just about damn near anything if I'm careful.
That's actually another point. We were actually doing our story quest yesterday, which happened to be the same section. And he died twice. And if I had gone in there on my own, I wouldn't be able to do it at all. I think that story quests need to be tuned down a little bit, because it's a little bit ridiculously hard.
Or at least be able to scale, like, with how many people you have. If you're by yourself, make it a little bit easier. If you have more people, make it a lot harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, sadly enough, and I hate that it came to this, but that quest that she's referring to, we basically tank and heal her that.
Yeah, I had to go water spec and heal.
which you're not supposed to have to do.
Right. But it's just about the only way that would work. If I wasn't getting healed, there were easily 10 mobs up at the same time, and a very small area for me to run around in. I was going to die if I wasn't getting healed. Yes, I have defensive cooldowns up the butt. I have something that lets me basically pally bubble. For, let's see, how long is this thing? For 6 seconds, I can basically step in a bubble that deflects all things and heals me.
Shit, that's better than a pally bubble.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially because other people can step in it.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot better than.
But the thing about it is, there were 10 things pouring in, and there were probably 4 or 5 waves of these things that just kept coming. If you're just, a ranger, what are you supposed to do in that scenario? You're just supposed to run around in circles and try to snare these things as best as you can while your pet wobbles around dead?
Actually, you just said the exact strategy that ArenaNet would tell you to do.
Yeah,
Kite.
that's sad, really.
They want you to kite. What the irony is they want you to exploit. The way you beat the dungeons is you exploit them. The problem with that is that if you're exploiting anything in the game the correct way, there are actually correct and wrong ways. I couldn't record us being in a dungeon. Like, that's an aspect that we can't. If we were going to keep playing, I couldn't record dungeons at all. Because as soon as I record a dungeon and show how we glitched it to beat it, we would all get banned.
Most likely.
No, they flat out said it. They're like, anytime you record an exploit, you will be banned.
Which brings us back to the whole, being a Nazi company.
Yep.
They really shouldn't be threatening players to the point where everybody's like, I don't know if I should do that, I don't want to be banned.
Yeah, when you have to think about, if I do this, am I going to be banned? You have to think a little too hard. If I'm playing Warcraft and I go to do something and I think, am I going to get in trouble if I do this? I'm saying trouble. They might take the item away from me, or they might do something like that. But I'm not going to get banned.
Right.
I don't have to worry about
it really boils down to their customer service and the people that handle things like that.
And the overreactions that they took over everything.
Well, I mean, they're trying to be watchdogs over a game, and that shouldn't be what's happening. You should let people enjoy it, and if they fuck up, tell them they fucked up. And then stop it.
Give them a slap on the wrist, take the stuff away, and say, okay, now don't do it again.
You shouldn't permaban 5,000 accounts the first week you're out.
Yep.
Because, just like Crip said, that's a class action lawsuit. Because you just
really
fucked people out of $60 of their money.
And didn't exactly tell them why. I mean, they eventually goes, oh, it's because you can't do this. Well, thank you for telling us that we couldn't do that.
Yeah, but they don't even tell you that. It's just a message you get in your game whenever you try and open it.
Yeah.
They don't contact you personally, nor will they answer an email.
Red in tooth and claw.
I don't think they actually ever did reply back to Crip, did they?
Yeah, somebody called him apparently.
The whole thing with a lot of these bans, it's a good example would be, say you go to Europe, and you don't know right off the bat that everyone in certain countries in Europe drive on the left side of the street. So you drive on the right, and you get pulled over, and a cop says, well, you need to drive on the left side of the street. Okay, thank you for telling me that. Now let's say the same scenario happens, but the cop pulls you over and immediately sends your ass to jail for driving on the right side. That's about what's happening here.
I don't know. That little explanation probably should use a little bit more. Because if you turn onto the wrong side of the street on a busy street, you kind of deserve to go to jail in that scenario.
Well, I'm just saying, okay, complete,
no one's on it.
Each side, country-ass road in the middle of nowhere in, I don't know what countries drive, so I'm just going to say
France.
Switzerland.
Switzerland
Okay,
does too.
I mean, it's really about them not giving us a rule set and then saying there's a bunch of rules.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, here, have fun. You did the wrong thing. Fuck off and die.
There are no rules. Really? Yeah. Okay. Hey, you broke a rule. What rule?
That
Rule
one we
number
didn't
one.
state.
Rule number 1, there are no rules. Rule number 2, screw rule number 1. Say that 5 times fast, goddammit.
Screw rule number 1.
Yeah.
There you go, I said it.
My speech impediment. It sucks. Now that we've all had our little bit of a rage fight, there are some very redeeming qualities about this game.
Indeed.
Oh, we gotta talk about positive stuff too.
Well, I mean, that's up to you. It's your video.
Oh, I know, I was just kidding.
I think one of the main positives is there really isn't any ganking in this game. It doesn't do a whole lot to encourage douchebaggery. And I think that's awesome.
It does very well bring the community together. Whether you see it or not immediately, you are helping out other people all the time. You're not taking things from other people constantly like you would in Warcraft. A good example would be, say you've gotten a character in World of Warcraft to 85, and you haven't done your gathering profession yet that you wanted to do for a long time, but we're too busy questing. Well, now you're going to feel kind of like a jerk for stealing all this mining from all these low levels that may actually be trying to farm that.
Yeah, it is a bad thing. And I think, like I was saying, that this is definitely one of those things that Blizzard needs to steal. Because it would make the servers run so much easier, on top of the fact that it would kind of kill the gold farming community. It would kill that really nicely. But one of the things that I'm not sure about, and I don't think, like, we obviously haven't had a problem with, is just like you said, ganking. But we're not on a PvP server, so I don't know if you can actually kill other players on a PvP server.
I don't believe there are PvP
Yeah,
servers.
there aren't.
Oh, there's not PvP. Wait, then what kind of servers are there?
They're just world servers. It's whatever the community makes
Ah,
of
yeah,
them.
that's right.
Now
That's right, because you got server crap.
Now, in the same respect, though, even in the worldy world, you can't really be like corpse camp because you do go back to a waypoint whenever you die. And it's not the same respect in the World of Warcraft graveyard, where if you res at the graveyard, you're getting, all of these debuffs and res sickness, which sucks horribly, and you never want to do that. Or even worse, you get somehow camped at the graveyard, then that's an even worse problem.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people forget when they take in, like, when they're comparing things to games like Warcraft that have been around for a long time, people forget how old World of Warcraft is.
Yeah, because they release so many expansions, no one thinks about the fact that it's a 7-year-old game.
People forget that their systems are 7 years old, and the game hasn't been recoded since. And
Yeah.
right now, the game is bulky, and it runs really heavy, because they just kind of have to pile things on top of it. Now, when there comes a time, which I'm sure there will, where they're going to clean up that coding, and everything's going to get a lot smoother, we're going to see a lot of things disappear. Like, I can imagine they'd bring in something where all your nodes aren't just going to go away because some asshole came up and took it from you. I mean, they changed a few things about that. Like, back in the day, you had to, dink dink on a vein like 4 times.
Oh
Ding,
god,
ding.
horrible
And
memories.
there was, times you could fail and somebody could just come up and take it from you. Then you had to do, like, the whole shift trick, where you had to just be, like, knelt there looting it so those people would go away.
Yeah.
Well, they took that away, because now if you start dink-dinking on a vein, it's tapped. Nobody else can take it.
The same thing with herbalism. For example, if you were any race other than a Tauren, and a Tauren came up to you when they had the thing that allows them to loot herbs faster.
Yeah.
If they click on it at the same time you do, or even just slightly after you do, it's theirs, regardless, because they got it faster.
I have no comment about this.
She did this.
I was about to say, you probably shouldn't have brought that up.
Torn bird power.
At least with her.
I mean, but I'm not a douchebag when it comes to that stuff. I'm not just going around stealing things. You know, I accidentally stole one herb from a Draenei dude out in Oldham. I felt so bad that I logged into the Alliance and apologized. I felt bad.
I don't care about right and wrong. I care
But
about
unfortunately, there's not a lot of people that are going to feel bad about doing that. A lot of people get some amusement out of it.
I think it's funny when you do it to the Alliance and we're on the Horde.
I
But
feel
other
bad
than
because I'm
that-
not a D-bag.
Yeah. I mean, you want to get around faster than other people, but even then, you don't want to steal it from anybody.
Luckily on our server, the people are extremely nice when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, even
Unless
with
you're
me,
obviously running around stealing everything from a whole bunch of low levels, then, it kind of gets bad.
Give me a report.
Love how I can't find this point of interest.
Another good point about Guild Wars. Jumping puzzles.
Which is also a bad
Yeah.
point, because there are too many.
Too many, and some are just really fucking hard.
You know, I don't mind the challenge, but when the only challenge they're adding to certain zones is a jumping puzzle and nothing else, it gets a bit repetitive.
It gets really repetitive.
That's another thing that is slightly turning me off about Guild Wars. Not enough to make me quit by any means, but it has the original Assassin's Creed feel to it, where you go into a zone for the first time, you know what you have to do. You have to go explore blah 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 and blah blah blah. So you go track all those down, you find them, and then you move on to the next zone after doing like the main quests. And then you repeat this.
Over and over and over again.
And while it may seem cool that there are so many different things to do the first few zones, when you get to, level 40, 50, something like that, you're going to realize, wow, this is really repetitive now.
Yeah.
Yes, mind you, all of these vistas are going to be different to get to in a way. Some of them are going to be hard jumping puzzles, some of them are going to be kind of hidden in a way. But after a while, it's just like, I have to find a vista, so I'm going to expect a jumping puzzle or something like that.
Yeah.
Or an even better example is some of these tasks, these heart challenges that you have to do all over the place. In these Norn zones that we've done, the last 2 Norn zones, I can't even tell you how many have just been go kill more Sons of Spawnir and destroy their banners in their hut.
Or dredges.
Why'd you do that?
Or dredges in the same example. It's like, so, mind you, many other games have the same thing where, you go out and kill the same mobs over and over and over again. So this is nothing new. However, on the other hand, it's like, if this game is supposed to be so much more dynamic, why can't you add just a little bit more variety to some of these things rather than just doing the same thing again in a different location?
Yeah, I think that's the difference between this game and other ones that have the same kind of situation. Where they're like, do this over and over and over again. Other games don't advertise, hey, all of our quests are new and exciting and totally awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
And this game does. So they're ultimately setting you up for failure.
To do the
Like-
exact same thing.
Right. It's like you want to get in there and have fun, but then you realize every quest is the same. After they said everything's new and different, you're not going to feel like you're grinding, and it does. You're seeing the same enemy over and over again. I'm sorry, but that's grinding.
I think what I find funny about it is where everyone was like, well, it's not the same quest all the time. He goes, you're right. Technically, you're right. 90% of the time, you're not killing 15 bandits. You have your option of, oh, I can kill 15 bandits, or I can destroy their huts, or I can destroy their weapons. And it gives you the option of doing different, but you're still doing the same thing.
Right.
Like, no one wants to see that for whatever reason, as in, you're still having to go and kill X amount of mobs, regardless of whether it's a tent or a weapon rack. That's still a mob. You
People
may
aren't
not be
going to see things like that yet,
No.
because the whole new and shiny thing hasn't worn off as of yet.
And I mean, you're also, like, you have to look at it this way. They're like, oh, well, go grab this and this and this and this. But because you don't have to bring it back to a quest giver, you're not feeling like you're grabbing it all and bringing it back to someone.
There are quests that way, though.
Yeah, like
Collection quests that you have
collect-
to haul all the way back to that person.
And you know what, to be honest, these are worse than the normal ones, like Warcraft's. Because you'll have, like, go pick up a cannonball and bring it back. So you pick up a cannonball, and you can only carry one at a time. And you run slower. And depending on how many you turn in while everyone else is turning in at the same time, you may or may not do good on this quest.
Right. The whole contribution thing.
Yeah.
So if you're out collecting 500 fucking worm eggs, you come back 1 second too late, you're SOL. You did all that collection for no reason.
And they delete them, so when it starts back up, you get to start all over. So you can't just, like, save up.
One thing that I will admit about the cannonballs and whatnot is, yes, it does seem more realistic, and I figure that's a very good thing, you know? I think it's kind of awkward that it would be like, okay, go collect 20 cannonballs. Don't even ask how you're going to carry them, just carry them somehow, because you're magic. But at the same time, it's like, is reality such a good thing in a fantasy MMO?
Yeah, exactly. You've got to look at... A lot of people don't want to look at that. They're like, oh, it's more realistic. And it's like, I'm playing a fantasy MMO where I play a cat guy. I could give a fuck about realism. Physics? Physics, I believe, should be real. I don't think I should be walking on the ceiling. I don't want to do that shit. But everything else...
Go on.
It's like, but everything else, you know, you got some leeway with.
I also don't think I should be able to fall, you know, maybe 60 yards from the ceiling and then say, oh, well, I'm cool now. I believe gravity should suck. Which it does in this game, and I'm happy.
You know, another good point to bring up, since we've fallen into a pit of negativity,
We're good at it.
is the inventory. The inventory is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yes, yes it is.
The deposit collectibles thing, just like on the fly, if you're out in the world and you have no bag space, that's awesome. Salvaging is awesome. You know, until you get to things like, you're exploiting even though we didn't say that it was bad, but now you're banned, deal with it.
Yeah.
Stay positive. Stay positive.
Well, you know, I have to code it with negative or it doesn't seem correct.
Here's my way that I see with the whole issue with it. The bags, the way they work, is intelligent. Once again, one of those things that Blizzard needs to steal. The fact that I can go mine, herb, pick all that stuff, and it's completely shared between all of my characters should definitely happen more than once. But, just like you said, the fact where they go, oh, you can, technically it's considered a disenchant, is what most people would call it, and re-scrap your old armor, that's awesome. Every game should have that to where everyone can do that. The entire issue with it is just like you said. If you go buy it with the karma that you get in truckloads of karma is what you get. I'm at one of these damn buttons. I'm at something that I don't even know because I don't see it.
Open your inventory. It's in the bottom left.
Oh, it's in the inventory pane. I have 166 at level 6.
I'm 31, I have 6,800.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. It's like, this is the equivalent of honor in Warcraft, but it comes from doing everything. And you know, that's why Blizzard doesn't get mad when you go and use your justice points to buy an armor and disenchant it, or use your stuff to disenchant it, because you have to earn it. This stuff just flows in like water.
Pretty much, especially because a lot of these events we do, there will be times I'm not even near said event, and I'll get gold for no apparent reason and just get,
Yeah.
700 experience and my karma and some money.
Mhm.
Like, well, that was generous of you, but shouldn't your game be a little bit smarter than that if I'm not even participating in the event?
Exactly.
Now, sometimes, yes, it does detect very well, I didn't really pay much attention to this event, I just gave you a couple of cannonballs, so I got bronze. But then there's other times where, I come in last second, hit a couple of mobs, and get gold. And on the opposite end, there's been times where I've participated in the entire event and gotten silver and bronze. For
Yeah,
no apparent
exactly.
reason.
I think the real issue is that while you can get karma, and it's really easy to come across and really easy to get and use, they go along with the fact that you're supposed to not use that for armor unless you're going to wear it, but you still need to salvage it because you need it for whatever reason. But you can so easily farm karma, it's not... How hard is it to do? Even at level 80, you could just walk out and go do one of the first things over and over and over again without a problem. But then it's your fault that you're buying items in-game for a currency that's in-game that you should be able to use.
I think the biggest issue is, like you said, it just flows in like water. You don't even mean to get it half the time. If it was
Yeah.
a little bit harder to earn, it wouldn't be such an issue. But the fact of it is, when we were like level 12 or something like that, I had somewhere in the thousands of karma and nothing to spend it on because armor at that level was like 20 karma. If I
Yeah.
can get a piece of armor that costs about a tenth of what I got for the event that I just did, and those things pop up like every 2 seconds, you kind of need to fix your karma economy here.
Yeah, just a little.
That's kind of the problem I ran into, like with armor at karma vendors. Sure, it would be fantastic for people that need it, but I had already picked up tailoring, and all my shit was way better than any of the stuff that I could buy.
Yeah.
So then I'm just stuck keeping my karma. I've literally spent it on nothing. I have almost 7,000 karma, and no reason to spend it.
And you probably never will have a reason. Maybe a weapon.
I mean,
Something
when you
along those
find,
lines.
like, karma vendors in the city, what are they selling? Bell
Armor.
peppers? What the fuck do I need a bell pepper for?
Yeah, because you didn't pick up cooking.
Or
Why
if
would
you
I?
pick up cookies.
Because it takes up your thing and you can't use it.
These soldiers all train hard.
Sure, I would have picked up cooking if I was able to help my friends out, but
Yeah.
I can't. So, I'm a tailor and a jeweler. That's how it is.
By the way, what the fuck is up with getting butter and shit now?
Butter.
Yeah, I
just
got
Random
bags
shit that drops.
and I get butter.
That's very random. To be perfectly honest, I would check that that's not coagulated something else.
You know what? I'm not even gonna ask. They're gonna be like, you got butter without karma, ban.
I got bags of butter, and I got peppercorns in my bag, and what else did I get? Chocolate bars.
Other stuff that we didn't buy, it just...
And I'm just like, trading
Material
post that shit.
My favorite is, out of these little bags, I've gotten 5 bowls of red meat stock. You want to ask me how exactly I got a bag and there was a perfect bowl of soup in it?
skills.
Them dreads are crazy with their soups.
Don't you know they have thermoses?
Maybe it's frozen. Just a frozen bowl of soup.
Makes sense.
No, he said it was perfect, so I don't know about frozen soup being perfect.
Yeah, it just says, let's see.
Well,
Yeah, bowl of red meat stock.
we Norns are like, into icy things. Maybe like a stock popsicle.
A taco soup.
Delicious.
A soup popsicle sounds very strange.
I want chicken soup on a stick, please.
Oh,
I like how
God.
you're asking for chicken soup and I'm running around in owl form right now. You're such a
You
jerk.
look mighty delicious. You look like Hedwig. Take this note.
Don't ask. I'm half
The real
parrot
question
now.
is, are y'all owls or boomkin?
He's definitely a Hedwig.
Well, I completed the city finally.
Congrats.
We're actually gonna try out the Ascalonian catacombs.
Good luck with this shit.
Yeah, it says recommended 5 players.
You know, I tried to look up if we can actually do it with 2 people. I've heard rumors that you can, but I don't know. I guess we're just gonna try it.
I have a feeling that them trying to break the holy trinity of MMOs is not going to be working.
I don't think it will, and the problem is they'll never admit it, and they'll never fix it.
It'll be like SWOTOR. We'll never be free to play. We're gonna
Hey
get free
guys, guess what? I don't know, you get a free party, Jawa.
A party Jawa.
I kind of want you to log in when it goes free to play so I can see it.
Well, let's see. Do y'all have any other points to add about Guild Wars?
I think the game is awesome for what it is, but I don't like the way they're handling customer service. I think it's awful. Absolutely awful. Your player base shouldn't be sitting around going, should I do this or will I get banned? Can I do this or will I be banned? And security needs to be buckled down on.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you really shouldn't slack on, especially in
Aside
this
from
day and
those
age.
things, go ahead.
I was gonna let you finish.
I was just gonna say, aside from those things, the game is amazing as it is.
I will agree with that. The game itself is pretty fantastic, admittedly. It's a solid RPG for sure. There are times where it doesn't feel quite like an MMO just because people get divided up into the servers and whatnot, and a lot of times it just doesn't have the MMO flavor to it, if that makes sense.
There's not a
other
lot
than
of
that,
flavor to it.
Yeah, the game itself is very fun. It's easy to get a hold of. You know, they teach you your abilities one at a time, which is a good system to get to know right off the beginning. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a realistic standpoint, but again, we're not shooting for realism here.
What was the comic? Do you know how to use the sword? Yeah, I stab with a shh, shh. Are you one of them hackers? First you gotta learn how to poke, and then prod, and then stab. Then you get to slicing. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much.
But while it is a hard game, it's very easy to learn how to do, and I think that that's the point that I like about it. It's easy to learn, but hard to master. For example, my Guardian here, I know a lot of his attacks, you know, without even looking at their icons. I can just say, okay, I swapped to a greatsword. I know that 4 is my leap, and then 5 is the thing that draws all enemies towards me. And I know
Yeah.
how to adapt all of those abilities to kite around mobs and burn them and heal my enemies. Not heal my enemies, heal my friends. But when I tried to play a warrior, I have to relearn a lot of stuff. It's not like other MMOs where it's like, okay, this is fairly easy to master how to play. No, it's a lot more of you play your class a long time before you master it.
Yeah. It seems to take a lot longer to get used to everything.
And my other big thing that I would like to give a hand to ArenaNet is the graphics are fantastic. And the fact that I'm playing this on a Dell laptop and it still looks fantastic is pretty good.
I was gonna say you're calling it fantastic, and I've seen what your graphics look like.
My graphics look absolutely freaking terrible. But you know what? I can look over at Sasha's computer and see that it looks great.
And all the booby gloss, my goodness.
That too.
throat, and she's bringing friends.
It's like I'm playing Dead or Alive over here.
Oh my.
Yeah, it kind of is like Dead or Alive, actually.
Come over here, you sexy knob.
I'm bringing company.
Now, if we're not needed here anymore, there's a dog needs to take a piss.
Alright, we'll go ahead and end this episode.
I mean,
The game is good. It will retain my attention mainly because it's free to play. I don't have to worry about, you know, paying that extra 15 a month or anything. But if it wasn't that, it's not worth paying the monthly subscription fee. It's definitely not worth that much.
Go ahead, hit me.
But because it's free to play, it's worth playing.
Right. I'm not gonna quit WoW to play this, but I will continue to play both.
Yeah.
yeah.
But not enough to actually record because, well, we'll never get anything done.
Well, I guess that's our thoughts on the game, cynical as they may be.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Shh. Don't say that.
What's coming in?
I don't need Total Biscuit on my ass.
Oh god, I used the C word, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Cupcakes?
Crap.
Look alive. I'm back.
Also a C word.
Wahoo!
We're burning through C words. Alright. We're done. Alright, everybody. If you like this video, like, favorite, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me a comment, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Tumblr, my website, all those links down below. Go check them out. And until next time, this has been Braun, Sasha, and Johnny, and hopefully we will have a new game that we can play all together here soon. But until next time, we'll see you later.